In this video, we will add searching to our commands page. Now, if we type idle, we get idle. If we type general, we get general commands. But if we type nothing, we get all commands that exist. But if we type automod, we don't get anything, as there is no automod commands yet. Let's get started. We left off with our commands here and an empty search box kind of input thing. Okay, let's improve that. So we're going to use Fuse.js.io, go on there, and we're going to go on, you can see a live demo here. So if I search for command, we're going to use command to search with. So imagine this as name, and if we check in command.js, name and category. So category, that's not going to work. So let's say title. These are used to get the search here. So if I search old man here, what happens? Okay, this is what happens. This is the first result, as you can see, if I type old man. And now if I search something else, which is, if I just type the whole thing, old man's war, this comes up. So it's fuzzy searching, which is approximate string matching. So it's not it doesn't search with the full words. It just searches with the characters provided to get the most appropriate result. There we go, that's just a quick demo. So how do we use it? Installation. How do we import it? We can just do this and go into header, and then in header we can just ignore this error here. This is from discord.js, it doesn't mean much. It doesn't seem to change anything now, that's what I'm trying to say. So if we get into commands.pug, here we can see we're importing script, the command script. Let's import the Fuse.js search engine. It's not really a search engine, it's a search library script. Above, make sure it is above, otherwise this won't work. Make sure it's above the commands, because in commands.js, this is where we're going to filter and search the commands. So how do we do that? First of all, how do we get the commands? Okay, so we have the commands here, but how do we use it in scripts? How do we get it into this script file, which is on the front end, and this on the back end as it's rendered here? How do we do that? What we are going to do is, we can't pass objects to PUG. Let me show you what happens when we pass objects to PUG. So we're going to make a script tag. So underneath commands, we're going to make a script tag, and what we're going to do is add defer, so it loads after that tag here. So what should we do? So we're passing in commands here. Let's just move that. So we're passing in commands, the array. Cool. So shouldn't we be able to just pass this and use this in the script file? Well, let's see. So console.log. So we're just gonna put it in a string, really, and commands, like that. Okay, so we're just gonna log the commands in the console. This is what we get. Yeah, that's what we get when we stringify. When we put an object within a string, we can add this exclamation mark, which is string interpolation, which we'll get onto in a minute. So now, when we refresh, we get the same thing. Okay, so if we type that won't work. Why won't that work? Because if we look here, it says commands equals object object. That's what's being rendered, really. That's what the client side sees. Now, how we're going to combat that is we're going to make a string called command string. We're going to stringify that instead of putting it within a string. This is how you make an object into a string. Let's see if we interpolate command string, what happens. Well, nothing's going to be logged. Hold on. So let's put some quotes here. Okay, and then let's log commands. See what commands looks like now. Now we've stringified the array. We get nothing. Why did we get nothing? Oh, I forgot to restart. Make sure you restart so that it's actually sent. I actually forgot to restart that time. But now we get this. Why do we get this? Because we're trying to enter this here into a string. Now we use string interpolation. We're trying to add the variable here we're trying to log this as a string. So this is what we do. We put a exclamation mark. Now what that does is it renders the raw version of this into here. So this could include HTML and it would still change things. So we can actually remove the quotes here because it already knows it's a string. And we get this converted to JavaScript. That's very good. What we can do now is let commands equals boom. And now if we log commands, what do we get? We get these. That's cool. Now we have passed the commands into the client side, so we can now use it in this script. Let me show you. So when we press this button here, so search, it's hashtag search ID, and then next to it adjacent button, get the sibling element, search button dot on, click, and then we want to get the search input value, which is search input dot val. If you pass something in, it will set the value of the input, but nothing in, it just gets it, returns it. So if we type query equals search, let's alert the query messed it up. Okay, let's try that again. Now testing. We're going to get testing, which was the query. We can use Fuse. Let's log what Fuse does. Let's see if we have Fuse. Do we have Fuse? Let's click. We have Fuse. Let's see if we remove this. Do we have Fuse? No, we don't. It's gone. Okay. So we have Fuse now. If we type new Fuse, now we pass in the commands, the array that we want to search with, and then the options, which is keys, which we saw here. Yeah, my internet's very slow, so there's an object. So it has a name, it takes the name here, which is the key that it's trying to get. And it has a weight. This is called weighted search. So the name has a weight, which means how effective that value is for the property in getting the search result. How much power it has. So the name is the command name, of course, and then there's the category. If we look, command name and category within this array. I messed that up. So we're going to have weight here, which is going to be 1 because it's the most specific. And then we're going to have weight name equals category here. And then the weight is going to be 0.3 or 0.5. There we go. So another option here is case insensitive. which means it doesn't care about the case. We don't care about the case. So const fuse equals, and then that's log whatever that means. Fuse, let's see what fuse is when we refresh. Hold on. Okay, so I shouldn't have refreshed there, but when we search test, what do we get? We get a fuse object. That's cool. Okay, so if we type .search, the query that we're going to search with, there we go. So what do we get then if we type results? We're going to log the results here. Idle, if we type idle, what comes up? Idle, yay. Now if we type a category here, case insensitive, remember, general, we get all three. Economy, gone. What is this returning? This is returning an item. It is an array with these objects in with item, just item. So we want to get the property for each object. We want to return that. So we type .map and then r for result, r.item. Cool. So now when we type test, we get nothing. Ping. We get the command in an array. It's just like the commands array. So how do we show and hide the commands that we searched? First of all, when we search, we want to, but we don't want a category selected here, so we don't want to select a category when we search, so there we go. Another thing is, what we want to do is hide all the commands when we search. All the other commands, should I say. But we don't want to hide all the commands. We want to show the results. So, how do we identify what a command is? Well, there's two ways we can do this, really. Is we can filter all the commands here which have the text with the name in it. This has an idle, we can do that. Or we can have an ID in mixins of the command. We can do that as well. Now, I think I'm going to do that actually, so how do we use a dynamic ID? Well, just use attribute syntax, and when we're going to type command.name plus command. Cool. Now we've got that out of the way, what we can do is we can iterate over these results here. Commands, I'm going to call them, for each command of commands. And then command.name, this is the start of the ID, and then it ends with command. So let's template string that. That is the ID right there. So we want to show that actually. How do we do that? So we select that and we type show. So if we log the command here, we'll log the command dot name. So if we type ping again and then search, we get ping, and it's not showing up. So also we want command error.text if there's no results, if results. Actually, I will make that function. So update results text. Boom. Update results text. Needs to read like English. So boom. So it hides all the commands. Now I forgot to add the hashtag here. That's why. So now when we type results, it's not defined. Hold on. Oh, we pass in an array here. So if a That's what we're going to call it. ARR results. There we go. So now, hopefully nothing breaks this time. We type ping. We get ping. That now there is a problem with the indenting or the border here. So what we do is we go into commands.css and type .commands li instead. Now that looks weird. Why does that look weird? We're gonna have padding. We're gonna have margin. Sorry, we're gonna have margin above. So 5px0, so just on top. That means. There we go. And then we're gonna have a border radius, which is the roundness of 5px. Okay, the color could be light gray, like that, so it's hardly noticeable. There we go. So now when we type ping, we get the command ping. Now when we type general, we get the command. We get all the general commands. Now when we type nothing, we get nothing. So when we type nothing, when the query is none, what do we do? I'm going to call this blank or something. Blank. Because I don't know what to call it. So it's going to be called blank. Function blank. Now, if the query here is null, if no query.trim, remove white space, what do we do? Well, so this is what we do. We type li command or .commands li .show. That's what we're going to do first of all. So we're going to return that. So ping, we type ping, we get ping. Type nothing, we get all the commands that exist. Because why not? Also here, I'm going to add where it says return li.show, I'm going to update the results text. And I'm just going to update that here and set that to commands, so it cancel all commands. So when we type this, when we type nothing, it gets rid of the error message. There we go. In the next video, what we'll do is we'll actually add the OAuth routes here, the OAuth routes, and a basic dashboard. Let's get into it.